What's happening, Brighton? The short answer is a lot. The long answer is this podcast. What's Up, Brighton is a show dedicated to the community we all love.
Hosted by Roger Burnett, Eric Meldrum, and Coach Mark Howell, this podcast will feature news, issues, and discussions impacting Livingston County and celebrate the people who make our slice of Michigan go and grow. This is What's Up, Brighton. So, it's interesting. I've been looking for a new service, thinking about putting a post out on the page to see maybe if some of the people that bombard us with air duct ads might be now in lint removal.
Yes.
Hey, everybody. How's it going? My name is Roger. What's up, Brighton? Welcome to episode 9 of the program. This guy's Mark.
What's up, everybody?
That guy's Eric. And we got a new guy.
Hey.
Back here in the corner, that guy's Matt. We're going to let him explain why he's here in a minute. But as is the case with every guest, they get to sit through all of the pieces of our program, which start out with one word, which we'll hit here in a second. And we're going to talk about the reason why this guy decided to show up in a really nice red shirt today. We're going to get to the coach and his huddle, which we found to be super fun. And then we'll let that last guy have the last final word, source of inspiration, comic relief, sex trophies.
Sex trophies.
Definitely sex trophies.
He gives out a lot of those.
In the
Huge.
back pocket today. Yep.
We got to get him a
in your pocket?
sex trophy t-shirt.
Pocket pool,
Well,
all right.
Once again, thanks to Michelle
Adam.
Cousineau. Thanks to Michelle Cousineau at Engrave It All USA for our tumblers.
Right?
Sweet tumblers. I love them.
Awesome looking tumblers. Poor Matt doesn't get one.
Nope.
Maybe
Left
we'll
out.
start having some guest prizes, some guest gifts
I like that idea.
going forward. All right, so I looked it up last time.
Okay.
Eric went first last time for our first.
What does that mean? Does that mean I go first
You
this
go
time?
first.
Word of the day. My word of today is preparation. Preparation. We are both personally and professionally just in the heart of like a lot of events, a lot of things going on, a lot of logistics, and so finding that preparation is key. Just making sure that we're ready to rock. A lot of things are in order, and also it kind of aligns with my little huddle up segment today. So preparation. Yeah.
Well,
Because I'm so prepared.
I was going to say, did somebody come prepared?
That's right. That's right.
Nice. Mine's growth. Growing, you could say growing pains or growth in general. There's just a lot of growth going on. And I think having Matt sit across from us, we have some questions for Matt about growth here in Brighton, Livingston County, that we'll get to. But there's a lot of growth going on. And I think, us taking this podcast to the next level is that let's go. That's the growth. So growth is on the mind.
I dig it. All right,
How to prepare for it. So
even better.
Yeah.
Okay, we come around to third base.
Ooh.
So my word of the day is presence.
Oh, like it.
Kind of like you said, Mark, this time of year is crazy busy for us in the construction world. We have a million balls up in the air. So I'm really trying to focus myself to be where my feet are and kind of avoid the distractions, be able to focus and be present on one thing at a time, whatever I'm doing, whether it's podcast or the kids or the business, and try to fade out the noise a little bit and see how it works.
That's awesome.
And one of the singularly most difficult things in life to accomplish. So
Absolutely.
good on you, brother. Mine's introspection.
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah.
I've been thinking a lot. I've been using my thinkers. You guys know I'm finishing up a very challenging 75-day program. I'm in day 72. As we head to the finish line, it's got me thinking a lot about what I just put myself through, what it means to me, and what it will mean for me going forward. So I'm excited for the future. I am grateful for the past, and I'm sore. I'm super sore.
You're looking great, though, man.
Thanks, bud.
You're almost there.
You are.
Proud of you.
3 days left.
3 days.
Congrats.
You have to go pee real quick.
The worst. So bad.
That gallon of water every
man.
day gets you.
It's so incredibly bad. So we're just going to take a quick tour around the headlines to see if there's anything anybody was really excited to talk about from anything going on in town these days. Anybody? Bueller?
Bueller. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. I think the thing that I'm most excited for, is the summer events, coming up. We have some big things. We just had Ken on talking about, the
Taste of
Brighton that's coming up, and the Smoke and Jazz Fest is going to be coming up. Mark's got a bunch of events for Fun to Life. Super jazzed about, but just getting the energy back in the downtown. Like once the weather breaks, it's hopping.
Yeah,
hopping down there and just like getting down there, letting the girls run at the Imagination Station and grabbing a coffee, walking around the mill pond. I mean, that's my idea of like a Saturday morning, just a Saturday afternoon, grabbing lunch. That's all the events I need. Like I'm pretty simple when it comes to that. So I'm excited about just the simple things in life, just doing that.
Sometimes it's the simple things that mean the most.
Absolutely.
How about you, sir? Anything of note?
The events are cool. We're in a new office, so I get to see them right outside my window, and we like being a part of the downtown community. And now that we have a growing team here, it's kind of more fun that we can go and take part in that sort of stuff.
For sure.
That's really cool.
Coach?
I don't really know. I mean, I just kind of take each day as it goes. So I'm just ready to go. I'm ready for all the summer stuff.
What's the date today, Mark?
I have no idea. Exactly.
Pop quiz.
I'm right here in today.
No idea, man. I'm just living in the now. Living in the now. I'm excited for the nicer weather though.
Oh.
Like I'm not a winter guy. I'm not even really a summer guy. I'm more like a spring fall guy. Like if I could just kind of stay in that little channel, and we haven't really experienced the full-fledged spring, and we haven't really gotten out of winter. So it's like I don't know.
Do you like the attire better? Do you like just wearing like the hoodies?
I could do a hoodie with some jeans, like every day, all year long. I could do it.
I had a boss one time. His name was Jacob. He literally told me, I was wearing a quarter zip, and he told me to my face. He goes, "Dude, you're such a spring fall like attire dude." And I'm like, "What do you mean by that?" He goes, "Yeah, I've seen you in the summer. I mean, polos don't work for you."
Oh,
wow!
I'm like, oh man,
shots fired.
Okay. I'm like, what's going on? So he's like, dude, quarter zip. He's like, that's totally your style. He's like,
so that's the motivation to you working out then, right there. That one guy.
Yeah, no, that's a long time ago. And I didn't really know it. Like when he said it, I'm like, the fucking audacity with this dude. What is going on right now?
I too surmise that my friend Eric, who's been working very hard at his own physical fitness, like I am looking forward to the opportunity to be able to sort of have a chance to unwrap some of what we've been working on.
Absolutely.
So you're doing the next one shirtless or what?
Let's
Is that
go.
what we're leading up to?
Yeah, I will. Let me add a little mass there.
Okay.
All right. So here's the thing that I noticed in the page statistics, ladies and gentlemen. We, in the last month, have had just over 675 new people ask to become a member of Brighton, Michigan Happenings.
I like how you said that.
Of which 200 and some were allowed into the page. So that tells you a lot about what's happening with the activity. But what I've noticed more so maybe than any other time in the time that I've been responsible for this is how many people are moving here that are saying, I'm new to town, I'm moving here from other places. I found this group and I'm super excited to become a part of it. And consequently, then one of the first things that they do is tell us the thing that they love the most about this area that made them want to choose moving to Livingston County. It is the most fun. We're examining a way to create a word cloud so that we can show everybody what it is, the things that people are saying about what's drawing them here. Any guesses? Anybody? Guesses?
I'll let these guys go first because I see them on a daily basis.
Jury duty.
Jury duty. Strong.
Jury duty.
Very strong. Lots of jury duty responsibilities in the county.
I mean, I don't know what it would be because I'm biased having lived here my whole life. So it's for me, it's like it's the community and it's one of a kind. But I don't know what other people, if I'm coming from Texas, I have no idea what that looks like for them. I don't know. Schools, Mill Pond. I don't know.
The funny part for me is if you go back and watch the first 6 episodes of the show, it's legitimately everything that people say. It's our outdoors, it's our downtown, it's our restaurants, it's the fact that we've not let chains into our downtown. It's all of the things.
Awesome.
It's the schools. It's everything that you would expect. So it just continuously reminds us of the fact that we are a desirable location. We don't need to tell ourselves that, but what we do know is, based on what we've talked to you all about over the course of the first few programs, is we're running out of space. Hey, Matt. What's happening, buddy?
What can I do for you?
Good. Well, could you build us a building? That would be great. It's a couple buildings. So we thought it would be fun to give Matt a chance to introduce himself and what it is that he does here as both a Brighton resident and also a member of the business community, before we just start firing questions at him and letting him swear about what he's upset about.
Oh, that never happens.
Never. Hi. You are, and
I am Matt Vetter. I own Schaefer Construction. We are a commercial design build general contractor, construction management firm. We've been in in Brighton specifically for 27 and a half years now. We've been in downtown Brighton for about 20 of those years. We've as a company, we've built a lot throughout the city. We build all over southeastern Michigan, but our roots are here in Livingston County, and that's what we do.
Where might somebody watching this program have stepped foot into something that you've constructed?
Oh boy. So we built 150 North First, which is our old office upstairs. Downstairs is Lynn's Cafe, Mill Pond Park, the old CW Interiors building, which I believe now is the Foguth building.
Okay.
We built a lot, and we've touched and renovated most of the others that we haven't built down here.
So he's done some stuff, and consequently, he's seen some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So as we've sat here, Matt, in the last episodes, considering our newly reimagined downtown and right, wrong, or indifferent, it's what we have today. And we also know that based on the residential development that we've seen in the downtown area, that there's a lot more bodies either here or on their way, which we believe presents a significant amount of challenges with respect to how do all of us get fed? How do all of us find something fun to do? How do all of us be able to, invite somebody out who's maybe never been to town before? So Matt, if we got all these new people and we don't have any new buildings, talk to me, man. What do we do?
You build new buildings.
Give us your perspective.
Expansion is inevitable.
Expansion is absolutely inevitable.
No matter how much we want to discourage it here on this podcast. Right, wrong, or indifferent.
Sorry, everyone.
Here's the reality in Brighton. Brighton's kind of an enigma, right? It is a sleepy bedroom city, and it always has been. And the reason being is there is no big quote unquote business down here. And so, if you go to Main Street Monday through Thursday afternoon, you can walk into any restaurant you want and have no issue. You come here from Thursday to Sunday now, and you're going to wait for hours. And so what I propose as mayor of this room right now is that
Mayor Matt, I like it.
we don't need big business. We don't need Google or any of that here, but we need some sort of large employer based in the city or close to the city that can feed the businesses on Main Street during the week, but then also promote the residential side of it. The other portion that brings with it, any development of that size, is going to be parking, which the city has been horrifically underparked for as long as I've been alive. And there's strides being made. There's changes happening as of today, right now, down the street that'll alleviate some of that. But you got to bring people in during the week, and you got to have somewhere to park when you're having all these events, when you're having all these, just the crowds that come in on the weekends. It's a great place to be, but if you have to park a mile and a half away, it kind of takes away from that.
Yeah, that can definitely be an issue. So big business. Are you saying like what size business? So like the Trinity Healthcare System, they're expanding. There's thousands of jobs going in. Is that number like sufficient to feed that? Because a lot of those employees are just going to stay in the hospital, eat cafeteria food, and not go outside of the hospital system.
Yeah, and by no means am I a economist or market specialist in that road. I think the health system is too far away. We need something closer to downtown, and that's going to cause pitchforks and torches to come out because of the nature of what we are here. But if you had people, and I don't think it needs to be thousands, but a couple hundred employees that work here that come into the city every day, I think that would make a marked difference on things.
Interesting. That's an interesting take on it. I've never even thought about like more businesses coming here. Like there's there's a lot of like vacant. Like I just saw they were building something towards Howell, like a new commercial space, and people are like, why do we need another commercial, building being built? There's tons of vacant ones already existing. If you go over by, behind Target, the Home Depot, those big box stores have been vacant for, I don't know, past 5, 6, 7 years. Like, there's a huge opportunity for businesses to go in and convert something like that.
There is, and frankly, nothing has really worked over there.
Right.
There was the trampoline place, and it's the seasonal Halloween stores, but even that still, I think it's pretty far removed, right? When you're talking about walkability, that's a hike to get from there to the downtown area. What we have here are, and no one is going to like this either, but we have a lot of dilapidated old buildings downtown that could be redeveloped. So it's not necessarily building up a new skyscraper or a high rise or anything, but even just down the street from where we're sitting today, there's some buildings there that are largely underpopulated. They're very, very old and they're frankly hideous. We could redevelop those into more mixed use type developments that can do all of the above, right? Bring some business down, bring some employees down during the week, provide the housing that we desperately need, and help take care of the parking.
Yeah. So answer me this, because I've always been curious, and maybe you know the answer, maybe you don't. I don't know. We're drilling you like you're like you have all the answers to this.
Shoot.
There's a couple lots, over off of North here, and those lots, they were for sale at one point with like kind of grouped together, and then they're all owned by different people. So all of them kind of got tired of like, we're trying to like sell it to a developer and have them develop it. And then one of them was like, screw this, I'm just going to sell my building like on its own. So they ended up doing that. Right. So why do you think something like that wouldn't take off? Right. If truly Brighton needs some development and needs more space, right? Are there roadblocks that the average person who's not kind of tied into like city permitting or maybe the cost of things, of construction, like they're not tied into? Is there something prohibiting developers from coming in and building here in Brighton?
The city of Brighton, as a permitting entity, as a planning commission and all that, they're not terrible, right? We do this all over the place, all over the state of Michigan. I've done it all over the country myself. They have their quirks, right? They have their fixations on things, but they're really not bad to work with. And I think the city, at least the previous management that we were very familiar with, were pretty pro-development in a controlled fashion. The lots you're talking about specifically, you're 100% right. We had actually looked at ideas of taking that whole block and taking the portion that's recently sold, taking the one on the corner that's still there, and then the vacant pieces. And there's a lot you could do with that space. It's largely unused. Mm-hmm. The biggest problem was the problem child of those sites, the one that everybody knows the history there and how the houses got removed and why they got removed. They were looking for a phenomenally obscene amount of money. And that's why they still sit there today. Now that owner owns, it's kind of in an L shape. So they own on north out to around the building that sold out to whatever that next road is there.
Yep. And for those who don't know the history of those houses, what
so the city sued them. They were dilapidated, rundown houses, or one specifically. It was condemned. The city pushed and pushed and pushed for them to take it down or to fix it. They wouldn't do it. There was lawsuits. There was screaming and yelling, and eventually the house was removed. They still own the land though. Okay. Still own the dirt.
Forced by removal.
My question has a little bit to do with your relocation. So in addition to being a builder, in addition to being a business owner in the community, you just went through the process of relocating, right? So talk to us about the simplicity, the difficulty, somebody coming into the downtown area that was looking for a spot. Like, what kind of environment would that person encounter in any of those situations?
Moving sucks. First of all, I mean, no matter how you do it, we decided to move both my personal home and our office both in the 2 weeks between the holidays, which
That's
is
brilliant.
It was an amazing plan. It was very well thought out ahead
Thanks
of time.
for a memorable holiday.
Yeah.
You know, it's all about being present. There is no presence when you're running every direction possible. But it was difficult, to be honest with you guys. You know, we looked for almost a year for a new place to find space to house us, and we're not a big group. You know, as of now, there's 12 of us, so we're not a huge employer by any means. We're not solving the Main Street problems, but there was no room to go, and you know. We could go outside of the boundaries of this downtown proper area and find places like behind Home Depot. There's areas there, but for me anyways, as the owner of the company, it's a huge attraction point being in downtown. It's a huge recruiting tool to be able to take new recruits and say, hey, you can go walk to any of 20 different restaurants and coffee shops and bars, and there's shopping and there's all this stuff here. So it was very important to us to keep our roots physically on Main Street or close to it. But because of that, it took forever. You know, there's no inventory.
Yeah. We're going to take a quick break from a word from our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by the Oxford Center, where healing begins with a blend of compassion and innovation. The Oxford Center offers a ton of different treatments, ranging from hyperbaric oxygen therapy, autism services, physical therapy, speech therapy, and occupational therapy, and more. They've pioneered research behind a wide variety of treatments and conditions. They're located in the heart of our community, right here in Brighton. They believe in treating the whole person, not just the symptoms. Discover how they can support your journey in wellness. Visit theoxfordcenter.com or call 248-486-3636. The interesting thing is I've talked to this topic with so many different business owners, and like, you know, your prime example, like, we're not a huge employer, right? We're 12 people, and there's only so much property on Main Street that you can go to, right? Without taking up like a retail storefront. Right? And that's always the other side of this is like,
right,
how many more office buildings are going to consume retail storefronts? Well, there's two sides to that. All right. And I'm sure you could speak to this as well. The rent downtown is largely cost prohibitive for a lot of retail stores, right? You got to be doing some serious volume, you know, in sales through whatever, you know, retail store that you have, you know, so it's a big risk for a lot of those companies and small businesses to go in there, right? So the ones that can afford it are real estate, mortgage, financial planning, insurance. You know, they want the exposure to capture the local market. That's their draw to it, right? They're not necessarily thinking about, did I take market share away from another business, you know, to it. But at the same token, like the landlord, they're going to rent anybody that can pay their market rent.
Yeah.
Right. And can lease the building. So it's this double-edged sword is like, hey, we don't need another, you know, financial planning or business. And trust me, I'm shopping. I have like 3 clients right now who are looking for office space around town, and everything keeps coming back to the same stuff.
Yeah.
Right. There is not a lot of inventory out there, other than buying some land, and like these lots here, that's like the best case scenario. But again, they want too much money for it. And it just becomes cost prohibitive. Right. So like, where do these businesses go? You know, and that's I think was the interesting thing is like, I worked a lot in Ann Arbor, still do, right? They have a massive development going on near Huron River, and they're going to be building a hotel, condos. They have a park area out there, and the city itself gave them, right? They gave them money to go help this development, right? So they're giving incentives to developers to come in, right? They're really tax credits at the end of the day, right? Big tax credits to ultimately build and develop in the area. There's none of that going around here, right? There's none of that development. Nobody really wants to see the city grow at that rate, right? For those developments, but usable space. I think there's a use case for that conversation to be had of like, how can we build a usable space that actually, what I do love is the new fifth they're building, right? Does everyone know the plans for that?
No,
right.
I do not.
So I love the concept of it, right? Love or hate filling that lot. Not here to argue about that, but the concept of it is it is all retail on the bottom. So all those locations, three stories, there's going to be retail on the bottom. The second level is all reserved for office space. Okay, so they're not allowing any offices to go on Main Street. Number one, which I think is brilliant. Right, they're self-policing that as a landlord, keeping it retail on the bottom, offices on the second level, and then there's going to be a restaurant on the third level. Right, so that's the best case scenario. You have restaurants, right? You get exposure to those businesses as people are going to the restaurant. Like, oh, who's on the second level? Like, there's going to be some marker on the elevator, I'm sure, so you can see it. But then you get all the exposure to the retail on the bottom. If we had more developments like that could go on the North Street here, that's the best case scenario. That brings in those 10 to 20, person building or companies that can go in those type of office spaces. Right. And then they have enough foot traffic to go downtown. Like, that's where we're going to go eat. That's where we're going to go, hang out. That's where we're going to go have happy hour after work. We don't have to move our cars. We're just walking over, to the Bourbons or, LR Bowl and grabbing a margarita. Right. That's best case scenario. We don't have a ton of that. For largely, like, a lot of the upper levels on most of the buildings, they're unused, to a certain degree.
Well, or they're old apartments.
Yeah.
And mixed use cases like that are the best things for a small town like Brighton, because of everything you just said. You get that terrific blend of the retail that we may or may not need, but we need to preserve at least retail space, the office to bring people down, and then a lot of mixed uses that we've been involved with in other cities anyways do residential on the top. And it's higher end residential. It's new, it's fresh, whether it's apartments, condos, or otherwise. You kind of have that, not so much live work. We tried that down here too, and it's okay. But it has that good blend of different uses that really attracts a youthful crowd, especially, which is, it's a point of contention down here, right? Do we want a bunch of, I don't know what the yuppies are called nowadays, but do we want a bunch of young professionals down here, or do we want to stay kind of an older, quieter city? And it's that balance all the time of, you have to have a little bit of both, I think, because if you're not growing, you're dying, right? And that holds true with people, with cities, with businesses. So if we can't keep attracting people here, it'll stay the same Brighton it's always been. And, there's a contingent that wants that, but I don't think that's realistic either. I don't think it's sustainable.
No.
Yep.
If you ain't first, you're last.
Right. If you're rubbing, you ain't rubbing, you ain't racing. So if there was one thing, if we said we could just one hurdle, one obstacle, one something, what's the one thing, Matt, in your mind?
That's a loaded question. Put in a big mixed use development downtown that combines all three of those uses plus parking.
Can they do underground parking like Ann Arbor?
They can. The problem with Brighton is most of Brighton's built on a bunch of soup.
Yeah.
So it gets very cost prohibitive.
Yeah.
All right. We didn't solve anything, but it sure is fun talking about it, isn't it? It's super fun.
If Bruce Wayne can build it, we can figure it out. Okay, people.
And we're gonna keep talking about it. I mean, there's no shortage of opportunity for us to examine what potentially could be. Because here's the thing: we want to take credit for whichever good thing happens. We want to act like it was us. So
it was definitely us. Whatever it is,
keep bringing people in. Eventually,
I think the one thing I want to say to Roger's point is, like, we'll continue talking about it, but here's the reality of the situation: is as Matt said, growth is inevitable. It's going to happen, right? And if we as the residents don't speak up and have some sort of involvement and have, start understanding what some of the planned developments are, everybody always hears after the fact. And that's where these like rumblings always happen. And you see everyone like, coming in the last minute. It's like, oh, that's a terrible idea. I was like, well, they were talking about that 18 months ago, right? You just nobody knew about it, right? So like, how do we bring that full circle? We're not in charge of that, right? But what I would say to anybody listening to this is like, get involved. Right, have some sort of voice, in city council and understanding like what the developments are. If there are ideas, like they are being proposed, they have to have building permits and all that stuff, in order to pass through. So these things are not like someone just had an idea and they're like, tomorrow it's happening, right? There's planning, preparation, to your point, like get involved with it. And
Well,
the more
that boils
people-
down to like basic human emotion, right? It's like no one wants to get involved. They just want to bitch about the outcome. They don't want to be part of the solution. But damn it, that solution sucks. So I'll let you know about it. Like, awesome, good job.
Which is why I'm hoping that this is, ladies and gentlemen, the perfect segue for the Huddle Up segment. And Coach Mark has a perfect opportunity to now spin that into whatever it is you have to tell us today.
I always
Coach.
set myself up with a really bad segue. It's my own doing. So I mentioned today, my one word preparation. And today I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about a little bit different take on preparation, I think, in doing a plan, and whether that's you're a business professional or an athlete or an aspiring leader, whatever the case might be, right? There's a vision, right? There's a vision, there's a goal, there's an overarching, driver that has you working towards achieving whatever it is that end product is. And I think something where we always talk about like the little adage, fail to prepare or you're preparing to fail, kind of a type of quote. I think at the end of the day, like developing a plan is actually relatively easy. Following a plan is the very difficult part of it. And so I think like my little Huddle Up segment today is how do you hold yourself accountable, right? Kind of a tip around holding yourself accountable to said plan. And, there are the small percentage of us that are intrinsically motivated to follow whatever goal, whatever plan, whatever something that we set for ourselves, and we're going to follow it to a T. But most of us, me included, we need something more, right? Because it's easy to go off kilter, go off page, and then justify why you went off that plan or why you didn't hit said milestone or why you didn't achieve that goal. And I think at the end of the day, it's just about finding a strategic mentor in your life, finding somebody to hold you accountable, finding an accountability coach, finding someone that at the end of the day, you're going to manifest said goal, said milestone, said plan, and you're going to kind of manifest that into fruition. And I think it's, how do we find somebody that's close to you that embodies the same culture and same characteristics and the things that you hold dearest? Find somebody in your life that will call you out on the bullshit, that will call you out on going off kilter, that will call you out on going off of your plan, and will hold you accountable to achieving it. And that could be a fitness goal, of 75 days. That could be a sports goal. It could be an academic or a career goal, whatever it might be. But find somebody in your life. It could be your wife. It could be a professional mentor. It could be somebody. But communicate with them what your goals are and ask them to come into your life and be accountable, hold you accountable to whatever it is that you're trying to manifest. Right? Find those ways to hold yourself accountable, not just yourself, because at the end of the day, we will let ourselves down, and then you'll find a way to justify it. So goal of today, a little Huddle Up segment, find somebody to be your accountability coach, hold you accountable, manifest the life that you want to see come to fruition. That's it. Let's go.
Wow. I'm in the presence of greatness here. I didn't know this was that kind of show.
So, bobblehead dolls.
Let's go.
Bobblehead dolls.
Let's go.
And sometimes you got to pay for that.
Yes.
If
Absolutely.
if you have to.
Yep.
Nothing wrong with paying for it.
Yep.
Because kind of like when you go to the trainer, one of the reasons why you go to the trainer is because the trainer has your money. For no other reason. I got to go. They have my money. Paying somebody to hold you accountable sometimes is the best way to get it done. If you can't, find somebody to do it for you for free.
Yeah.
Correct?
Absolutely.
Correct?
Whatever
Yes,
you got
it
to
is.
do.
Everybody at this table universally agrees with this opinion, which means now we must allow Eric to somehow put a ribbon on that with his
Wrap
final
it
thought.
up.
Yeah, when you pay attention, right?
Ooh.
So investing in it, that's why like the free things in life are always like, we've tried this so many times of like bringing people into our free like coaching programs, like, and people come in, they drop out. It's like there's no accountability, right? And sometimes the accountability is just like you're paying, so I'm going to get value out of this. Right? Like I'm going to stick. And I think that's a great segue into something I want to talk about today. I knew we were having Matt come on, to the show, and I was really just curious on some thoughts, and like I love the discussion around like, where is the city going from a scalability perspective, and like we've talked about this before. Like nobody has all the answers. Everyone has an opinion about what good and bad things are going to happen to it, but like the reality is it's happening all around us, right? Change is inevitable, and my uncle has always said this. He has a signature in his email, and he sends out devotionals and things like on a weekly basis. And at the signature, he says, the only constant in life is change. Right. And it's always like, it's just rung true, like in my head all the time. Like, it's absolutely right. Like we are going to continuously change day over day over day. And we can control how we react to that change, right? We can control how we react to one another, right? Within, this room. But only thing I can control is my actions, right? And, seeing the change, like I can go get upset about it. Like I can be pissed that they're putting apartments on Mill Pond. Like it's huge. It's I don't know what it's going to look like at the end. Maybe it's going to look cool. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But they're building, right? There's more people coming into Brighton. So I always ask myself, like, how am I going to react to this? Right? How am I going to either contribute or try to put a spin of positivity on it? Because I do this every single day. I have people moving into the city, and some people are like, stop telling people about Livingston County. I'm like, what do you want me to do? Like, I can't take it off the map, like, oh yeah, Brighton, yeah, don't.
There's nothing there. Don't move there.
Don't look there. People know about it, and I think the positive things outweigh, right, with so many of the older generation that lives here that knows Brighton from like 30 some years ago or 35 years ago, when it was relatively just kind of a quaint, sleepy, bedroom town, like you said. And for the most part, it still is, because there's not a lot of large employers here. So everyone commutes outside of the city and they come here to sleep. That's what they call a bedroom town. So I've just been thinking a lot about that as, we've got the spring rush of people looking for homes, inventory's down. And I've been having these conversations more and more, is like, how do I get into the Brighton School District? How do I get into such a great community, right? And that's the thing, like, that's such a positive. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I listen to the chatter that's going on, but like, there's so many people that have such a different lifestyle outside of it, and they're choosing to move to Brighton to be part of this amazing community. And I'm like, I would love to find them homes. I would love to, have more options for it. And those things are going to work themselves out, right? Like, we're not stopping Lombardo, or Mitch Harris or, MI Homes from buying up land and building communities, right? Like, I see a lot of people talking about other developments that have really nothing to do with even living, housing, being shut down and for many, many reasons. But like, if you're so upset about the growth of the city, why aren't you attacking the builders who are here? And I'm not saying go attack them, but my point of all that, is we can control how we react to things, right? And put your energy into the right things that matter, right? If we can look at this objectively and say, great, we know people are going to come here. How do we build communities that preserve, our green space? How do we build communities that actually fit in with where we love to live, right? If you look at some of the older subdivisions here, they're half-acre lots with tall pine trees and large, mature trees that live in them. Those trees were here before, right? Some of these new communities, they level the whole entire thing and they start from scratch. Like that, in my mind, like that should be a requirement. If you are going to build something here, then there needs to be some preservation of the nature, right? Some preservation. And I know that's not doable for every single plot of land and that type of stuff, but like those are the type of things I'd love to see people get involved in and like excited about instead of just complaining about it. Right? And that's just how I look at it from a positivity perspective. So that's my final thought for today. Yeah.
We know it's changing. We all know it's changing. we're just trying to be a part of making it be what we want it to be going forward. And you can either yell about what's happening or you can be a part of the future. We choose to be a part of the future. So that's it. That's all. That's everything. We did it again, guys. Congratulations, Matt. Thanks for coming out.
Thanks for having me, guys. It was fun.
Really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you.
And until next time, if you've not already done so, please subscribe to the show. It allows us to continue to feed the algorithm, which brings us really cool guests like this guy that just came and hung out with us today. And if you have show topics that you would like us to cover, feel free to send any of us a note, as we are always looking for new things to get you excited to hear about. That's it. Until next time, this is Roger signing out.